I don't need the vanity numbers. I don't need to have hundreds of thousands of followers. I have 30,000 followers that pay me very, very well because they're the right person and they feel like I am talking to them every time I show up and provide more content. And I think that's what we have to focus on.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Today I have joining me Sarah Williams, founder of Launch Your Box. She is a subscription box expert and queen. And I'm super excited about our case study today because it's all about how she was able to get a 43% conversion rate from lead to sale in her most recent launch of her subscription box coaching membership. We'll get into the details in just a moment, but first, Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to talk about this today.
We're really excited to have you. And, we usually start the show off with asking our guests what their Cubicle to CEO story is. But I feel like for you, it's maybe more of like I'm sure there was like a leap that you took from working a day job to working in your retail shop that you opened. But I feel like your more true story for the purposes of this case study, it was like, what was your retail to subscription box story?
Yeah. So I don't know if it's retail to subscription box, but retail to business coach really is the biggest journey there. I had my shop for 6 or 7 years. I started the subscription box and it just exploded on me. And people were just in my DMs. How are you doing this? Where are you getting packaging? How are you sourcing this much product? Like, can you teach me? I want to do this for my own boutique or my own business. And so those DMs were just piling up. And I took on a one-on-one client one summer and helped her launch her subscription box for like the cheapest amount you would ever imagine because I didn't know my worth back then, right? I didn't know. And so we spent 3 months working together on her business and she launched her subscription box, sold out on her first launch. And I was the proudest subscription box mom that you could be. And I realized that that was something I was missing. I really enjoyed teaching. I really enjoyed serving in that way. And I thought, what if I turned this into a coaching gig? And I just took all those people that were in my DMs and I sent them a message and I said, hey, I'm starting this thing called Launch Your Box. I don't have anything built yet. I want to build it with you. Would you like to be a founding member of my coaching group? And I had 19 people take me up on that. And now, years later, I have coached over 7,000 students, and some of them have been so successful. A lot of them have been so successful. Yes.
Well, honestly, that's the best way to do it. I'm such a big believer in pre-selling I guess it wasn't a digital product per se. It was much more involved as, you were coaching these people, but still it's like putting something out there that maybe doesn't exist yet and asking people, hey, do you want to come co-create this with me? I think there's so much power in making that ask. So I love that that's your journey for how you started on the business coaching side. And I'm just curious for maybe like the context of our listeners, when you started your own subscription box, so you said you owned a boutique or like a retail shop of your own, a brick and mortar, did you just kind of curate some of the inventory or products that you were already carrying in your store and then just create the first subscription box out of those products? Or were you ordering specifically for the subscription box and they weren't necessarily items that you were carrying in your boutique?
So there's a yes and a no in that, because when I started the subscription box, I wanted it to be exclusive and I wanted it to be unique and special. So I curated that very first box from brand new products, but I curated it from my top best-selling categories in my gift shop. And so I had data in my store, I had data. So I took those best-selling categories, I took my average order value and made that the price of my box. And I had proof that that's what people wanted, right? Now I was just going to curate it in a box. So that first box and every box since has been custom exclusive items, but they were taken from what I knew were my best sellers in my shop.
Okay. I love that. It's almost like your brick and mortar was like a testing playground where you could get all of this valuable real-time feedback from real life customers. And then you were, obviously translating that into a digital subscription. Do you still have your subscription box line of your own today in addition to educating others? And then also, do you still own your gift shop or did you end up selling that?
So yes and no again. So it's morphed over the years. I still have that business. It's called called Framed by Sarah. And now instead of a brick and mortar, we're in a warehouse. We moved into a warehouse because I outgrew that brick and mortar so quickly with the subscription box business. But I still have a little storefront in the front of my warehouse because I have hundreds of local customers still and hundreds of local subscribers still. So I didn't want to lose that face to person interaction. So we have a large warehouse at brick and mortar. We're only open 3 days a week at the warehouse. So it's more of a warehouse style, but they still can come in. They can see us. They can talk to us. They can pick up their boxes. They can shop. We have a little boutique in the front where they can shop. A lot of it's behind the wall on the racks. And it doesn't look like a traditional. It's like one of everything is kind of styled on mannequins or tables or whatever, but they can still come and shop like it's a brick and mortar, but it fits our need to not be tied to brick and mortar retail hours. We're only there when we're working in the warehouse. And so that it's kind of this hybrid.
That's magical. Okay. Well, I need to come visit your warehouse slash shop if I'm ever in the area. So we'll make sure if you're listening or watching this on YouTube, we'll drop the link to your in-person presence in the show notes if any of you guys happen to be local. But let's get into the case study real quick. Your launch event, the one that produced a 43% conversion rate, like I referenced, is a week-long experience called Subscription Box Week, where you give participants a sneak peek of your membership, Launch Your Box, in the form of trainings, interviews with current members, and an engaged interactive community. So before we get into the day-by-day play of Subscription Box Week, because I do kind of want to walk through that schedule with you, how do you get people to sign up for this week? Where are you promoting? It sounds like you do a mix of both paid and organic. So kind of give us your promotion strategy for filling the room.
Yeah, so I am heavy on Facebook ads for this, and I am going to spend way more money getting people to come to this week than I will to just put my coaching membership out there, just, to conversion to sale. So I want you to come to this week because here's what I know about coaching after I've done this for so many years. Once somebody gets to know, like, and trust me, and they can see the expert knowledge that I have and the way that I coach people, they are more likely to join my membership and they're more likely to have a higher LTV. And so I know that they need face time with me. It helps with retention and it helps with conversion. And so we spend a lot of money getting my ads out there to join Subscription Box Week. And it's very specific, right, Ellen? It's very specific. Like, do you want to start a subscription box? Boom. It's not, do you want to start an online business? Do you want to have a retail shop? Do you want to be, a product-based business owner? No, it is very, very specific. So that's how we're able to, I always say the riches are in the niches because when someone sees that ad, it's either for them or it's not. And so it converts really well. But I also spend the entire year building my email list. I am so focused on that 365 days a year with opt-ins or SLOs or different kind of things lead magnets that I've got going on to find that right exact person. So I get a lot of signups through email because I focus on building that list. And then I get a ton of signups through paid advertising on Facebook and Instagram.
That's super helpful. And I mean, you've built up an impressive email list size. I believe pre-interview you had submitted a couple stats. It's around 40,000. You mentioned you're really good at targeting the exact right person to actually get on your list. So I understand how you do that with paid marketing, obviously, because you can select the exact demographics or interest groups that you want to reach or create lookalike audiences, right, of your existing buyers. But when you're focused on organic opt-ins, organic content, how are you really pulling out those people that, like you said, have that very clear intention? I want to create a subscription box, not just like I'd love to make some money online.
Right. I think you have to do the same thing that you do paid. You have to do that organic. So when I show up and I do a Monday morning live every Monday morning, I'm talking to subscription box owners. I'm on YouTube. I'm talking to subscription box owners or someone that wants to start a subscription box. All of my content is geared around that one thing. And that one thing brings me the right person. If you were to go look at my social media right now, like you would say, well, she has a very low social media. I have a low number in like big, Facebook, Instagram world. Like you're like, who is she? Like she doesn't have very many people. I have the right people. I have the buyers. I have the people buying my program. I have people staying for years in my membership. I don't need the vanity numbers. I don't need to have hundreds of thousands of followers. I have 30,000 followers that pay me very, very well because they're the right person and they feel like I am talking to them every time I show up and provide more content. And I think that's what we have to focus on, whether we're doing that organically or we're doing that paid. It's the same concept, and that's how we attract the right person.
I love how focused you are there. And what you said about not getting caught up in this idea of needing the vanity metrics, right? Because to your point, and I think this is worth reminding all of us, all of our listeners, if you are really zeroed in on a very specific solution that you offer, in your case, subscription boxes, by default, you know you will never be able to have like the millions of people if you're trying to build with buyers, because just naturally in the world, that kind of limits the amount of people who could potentially be interested in actually taking on such an endeavor, right? There's not millions of people walking around saying, I want to create a subscription box, or I have the tenacity to actually follow through on that idea. So I really, really appreciate that you are so cognizant of that and don't let yourself get distracted by, these other things that don't actually lead to bottom line success. You also charge for this subscription week $15 per ticket for someone to come to this week-long experience to get a preview of everything you have to offer. I know for you, the cost of the ticket is really just to help fund the ads, but I wanted to kind of understand your decision around why $15 specifically. Is it that over time you've discovered that the cost per lead is literally $15? So you're like, okay, I'm just going to make it equal, like literally break even if someone buys through an ad? Or is the $15 strategically positioned as some other strategy? Is it like a pricing point where you've just found people can easily buy in without having much context? Any insights you want to share there would be super helpful.
This is the 5th time that I've run coaching week, subscription box week in my business. And I started it out as a $10 offer. And that was great. I was getting leads, and we're talking like 2019. So you've got to remember Facebook acquisition costs were low. I was getting leads for $4, $6. It was great. I was making money. It was awesome. And then, as we know, iOS and then global pandemic and all these things that happened to us over the years, the price of acquisition has gone up. So this was the first year that I had increased the price. I'd run it 4 times at $10. And there's a lot of people that do free things, and I have tried both. And what I realized is that people don't show up to free things.
Amen.
They sign up for them and then they don't. And all I needed was a little bit of skin in the game. Have a little bit of skin in the game, like the price of a coffee or a lunch or something like that will make you show up. And it's such a small amount, right? So at first it was, I needed to fund this ad spend. And then it was like, oh, well, people actually show up when they pay something for something. So that was great. And then as costs had got higher, I decided to go ahead and increase it this last year. And I didn't know if that was going to hurt my sign up. My signups were actually a little bit lower, not by a lot, but a few hundred were lower than normal. But I got such a good quality of person signing up this time that it made all the difference. And that's why we saw a 43% conversion. But that's really the pricing strategy for me. I want to fund the ad spend. I don't want to take it out of my pocket. And some of it I had to, acquisition was a little bit higher than 15, but I planned for that. I just don't want to pay 15 for every single, I don't want to come out with all of it for every single person. So that helps fund it so that I'm not waiting for month 4 in the membership to actually make a profit on this thing. And so that's where we call it a SLO. It's just a self-liquidating offer. It's an offer out there that's just self-liquidating, and we put that back into ad spend. I'm not making any money on subscription box week, but the goal is that I'm finding a person that's going to show up, consume the content, hear my pitch, and I'm going to be able to convert into a member.
Absolutely. And I'm a mega fan of slow funnels because, like you said, you're building your list with buyers, with people who have already transacted with you from day one. They've have skin in the game. And that's such a different ball game, I feel like, than talking to a bunch of people who downloaded freebies that they may or may not actually have ever opened or participated in. And so I think that's so smart. And speaking of show up rate, you said you recognize that people who paid actually did show up. So how many people ended up signing up for the most recent subscription box week in June of this past year? And of that amount, how many people actually participated live in some form during the week? So like percentage or ballpark number, whatever is easiest for you.
Yeah, I don't have the exact number in my head right now, but I know it was a little less than 2,000. And in the past, I've always had over 2,000, closer to 2,500. So I had a little less than 2,000 in this particular week, which was fine. I spent more money than I had before. Again, acquisition cost was higher than it's ever been. Like, there's so much that I do during subscription box week, and I think we're going to talk about it. But I know day one, the very first thing that I show up live for has my biggest show up rate. That's usually half. I can usually get half of the registrants to show up. And we do that in a way of I do a pre-live in the group, like, hey, this is what's coming. This is what you need to bring. I also do a text message out to them so that they know that, hey, I'm about to show up in the group. We do email funnels, making sure they're in the group and I'm showing up. So we kind of make it a big deal to come to each one of these lives. And so we kind of push that hook out there, like, this is what you're going to get. This is what you're going to learn. This is what, this is exciting and fun. And so we try to really work that to get them. It's not just sign up and then, hey, come, this is the schedule. We really want to create a lot of buzz around showing up and participating in real time.
Yeah, it sounds like you make it an occasion, right? Like a can't miss gathering or event. Do you find that people who show up on the first day continue to show up the rest of the week if they're making that effort that first day? Or with the drop off, how do you bring them back?
So there's always drop off. You can see day one, we'll have the heaviest live viewers, and then it drops off, and then it drops off. And by the end of the week, it's a little bit sparse. But I always try to create a little bit of FOMO in the group. So I'll show pictures of, like, here's what we did, or I'll show like a picture of the live of what we're working on. I want to get them back. It's okay if you missed it. And I put a gap in the days so that if they have to watch it on replay, it's okay. Take your time, watch it on replay, and join us tomorrow. And I just remind them that you're not behind. Just go get to where we're at, because we're making progress this week, and I want you to make progress too. And so I'm always kind of teasing what's up next and reminding them to go back and watch that last 1 hour live before we do the next one tomorrow. So I'm constantly reminding them to consume the program so that they're ready, because I know if they'll consume it, they'll have a quick win for the week. I need them to have a quick win. I'm trying to deliver a quick win for them so that they feel good about taking the next steps with me.
Brilliant. And is this all happening inside a Facebook community? And as you're describing this, it kind of sounds similar. We don't necessarily host anything like a week-long experience around launching to a paid program, but we do have a paid challenge that we've hosted, many cohorts of, and we create this like 7-day pop-up community where there's a little bit of urgency built into that too, because if they don't participate, it all goes away. Is yours similar? Do you remove them from the Facebook group after the week is over, or do they get to continue and stay on in that community?
Yeah, so that is part of the urgency, right? I think we have to create urgency in this offer, and it was something that I hadn't done in the past. And I also think that's why I had a higher conversion rate, because we do put them in a Facebook group. It runs from Sunday to Friday, but then I'm doing my public launch from Friday to Monday. So I'm in that group from Sunday to the next Monday, right? Because they're my hottest, warmest leads at this point. Even though I'm public launching now and we're seeing stuff on the public page, I'm still streaming it into the private group as well. So yeah, we let them have it for, like, I want to say a week or two. It's always like the end of the month, but I used to give it to them for life. Like, I used to like download the recordings and email them out and all that. But also that's when people were showing up. You think about 2020, I did this 3 times in 2020. People were consuming it the minute it dropped because they had time to do that. They don't have it now. So we have to create the urgency that they need to participate, because also if they don't participate, they're not going to hear the pitch, right? They're not going to have the win. They're not going to have the drive to then join the membership. So if we just give it to them for 6 months or 3 months or a year, they're not going to consume it. And then we're not going to have the opportunity to have that person, join our thing. And so we've got to create that urgency around it. So, and we remove them from the group. And that was something I did after the first one, because it got really spammy after the week. I had like box companies in there, DMing people. I had, product companies, vendors in there DMing people. I'm like, no. this is my group. I paid heavily to have these people in there. And so after they were done consuming that content, we removed everyone from the group. Everyone was removed. And we use that group over and over again every time we consume it because we're just removing all the people every time. That way there's not poaching going on in that group after we're done.
Right. No, you have to protect the community at all costs. So that makes a whole lot of sense. You keep referencing this like quick win, quick win. So I do want to kind of zone in on that. What is the one specific result or win or outcome that everyone who actually shows up and participates in Subscription Box Week is supposed to leave the week with, regardless of whether they join your membership after or not?
They're going to leave with a 6-month curated subscription box. So basically, what we do is we do this brainstorming with our ideal customer and the products. They're going to leave with a 6-month plan of curated boxes. They're going to leave with 6 months of curated boxes. And it seems simple, right? Because we can lay in bed at night and think, oh, that would be cute in a box. Oh, that would be cute in a box. Oh, that'd be, we could dream about that. And that's the fun part. But what I'm teaching them in this week is why we want to put something in there, what we want to put in there, how much we want to put in there, or how little we want to put in there, the value of it, so that they can see what's possible for their subscription box. Because before this, people want to go to packaging first because it's fun. You can't decide on your packaging until you know what's going to go in your box. So that doesn't make sense. People want to go to, oh, I want to make a logo and I want to make branding, but that's not realistic. We have to lay this out. And I know if they lay this out with me for the week and we go through the process of curating 6 months worth of boxes, they'll be ready to take the next steps because they can visualize this for themselves and for this business. If they can't even visualize what this is going to look like for 6 months, it's really hard to talk logistics. It's really hard to talk about buying product and sourcing. They don't know what they're going to do. It's really hard to talk about packaging. They don't even know what size packaging they need. And so this is like their first step to really visualizing what's possible for their business. And then we get into the nitty gritty. And that's why they want to join, because now they can see this. Now they're excited. Now they're ready to move forward with the next steps of actually building and launching their subscription box.
That makes so much sense. You're like giving them the what, but not the how. And they're really getting bought in, like you said, to that vision. And it's no longer just this kind of hypothetical idea floating in their head, right? They can see it in front of them. That's so smart. You've mentioned this big kickoff planning session that gets like half the people to show up live on a Sunday. You said that, you find that obviously the most amount of people actually show up on day one, but I wanted to kind of further understand, did you specifically choose Sunday because you have data around like people just being more apt to show up on a weekend than a weekday, or Sunday just kind of like tradition, you've always done it and now that's what it is?
I find that more people show up on a Sunday afternoon, evening than any other time that I've done anything.
Wow.
Because they're usually done with their weekend, they're home, they're prepping for the next day. And so people that are working are available. People that are not working are available because their partner is at home and can watch the kids or whatever. But I find that Sunday afternoon, evening I have the best show up rate to anything.
Interesting. Okay, I'm going to file that little nugget away because I have like a live workshop coming up and I've always done, my live events. Like usually I'm just a creature of habit. Like I just randomly chose 11 a.m. Pacific time one time and that's been like my time forever. And it's usually on like a Tuesday or Thursday or Wednesday, but that's really interesting. So I'm going to have to test that and I'll have to report back to you on whether that translates to my audience as well. But good to know and good to file away for any of our listeners. In this first planning session, so let's actually kind of like walk through the schedule now. Sunday, you have these people show up. I believe you have them bring some tools with them, right? Colored sticky notes, markers, and of course, an open mind. The planning session, what does that look like? Because obviously the end result of the whole week is to have 6 months worth of subscription boxes planned. Do you do all of that 6 months on that first night or? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's about an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, depending on how chatty the chat is, because I always want to engage with them and acknowledge that they're there because that keeps them there. Right. So we do that. It's an evergreen webinar that I teach called the 6 and 60. I just do it live in that first day. And so that is what we're doing together. I'm helping them plan it out. I'm also teaching them about what if it's a one thing of the month? What if you did like candle of the month or jerky of the month or whatever it is. So we're looking at all the aspects so they can get their wheels turning and plan out a whole box or even a one thing of the month. Like, what would that look like? What's the lowest hanging fruit in your business? And so we do all of that. I answer a lot of questions. I'm also selling Launch Your Box on day one. And so I'm pitching in that as well as I'm teaching. So day one, we do the 6 and 60 workshop. That's on Sunday. Monday, we don't have a training session. So if you miss Sunday night, you have all of Monday to go back and watch it. Tuesday, I do what's called kind of the post-its to plan. So now we've got our post-its all together. Let's organize our thoughts. Let's put it in a plan because here's the next steps. And I kind of walk them through. Okay, now that you have this plan, here's what we do next. Here's what we need to do next. Here's what we need to think about. And I help them do that on Tuesday. Then on Thursday, we do something that's super fun that I do in my membership every other month, but I do a box opening. So our members get to ship their boxes to me and I take 10 or 12 at a time and I just unbox them sight unseen and give my feedback. So I have our members, send me boxes and now I'm doing it in the group. Now that you've planned this out, I want to give you a visual of what this could look like. Here's some different industries, different types of boxes, and let's see how they've put it together. So now they're getting another visual. It's so fun and they love it. My members love it every time I do it. So I thought they need to see this too because this is part of being a member. And so then that's on Thursday. And then on Friday, I do a live Q&A. So we're kind of wrapping up the week. I'll answer any question that you have and I go for an hour. And every single one of those 4 days, I'm pitching Launch Your Box. And there's a bonus wrapped into every one of those days that expires. So I'm creating that urgency to join. The quicker you join, the more bonuses you're going to get. And I do that because I know I'm going to have the biggest show up rate on day one. So I need to grab them while I have their attention. Now, also in this week, every single day, Monday through the next Monday, because I go into the public launch, I'm interviewing a member. So I'm showing up in the group with an interview. We're talking about their journey, their success story. I'm interviewing people of different ages, people of different races, people of different industries. If they can't see themselves in me, I need them to be able to see themselves in one of my students. And so we're just talking about success stories, and they're small success stories and big success stories because I need them to kind of feel like they can do it. And so every single day I'm live again with a member and we're talking and then we're saying, hey, come join us and Launch Your Box. We have so much fun in there. And so it's another pitch. Every day they're hearing that over and over. And then one of the bonuses is VIP Zoom calls with me. And so if they get signed up by, I want to say it's Tuesday, they get to come to the VIP Zoom calls after hours. So now I'm on a call with them. So I've gone live in the morning doing a training. I've gone live in the afternoon with a member. And now it's 8 o'clock and we're drinking a glass of wine and we're just chatting on Zoom with however many hundreds of people have signed up at that point. And again, it's that face to camera. It's that connection point. Now I'm on a Zoom call with them versus a Facebook Live, and I'm seeing their face and it's more intimate and we're talking about different details and I'm letting them ask me personal questions by raising their hand and verbally asking me. So it's another connection point, and I do that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So if you sign up Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, that's how many Zoom calls you get. If you sign up Thursday, you get one. If you've signed up by Tuesday, you're going to get all 3 of them. And some of them come every night.
Wow.
And so that's another bonus. So I am all in on this week. I am exhausted. I lose my voice almost every time. And then everything's cleared from my calendar for this week because when I'm not live, I'm also in the group answering questions. I am showing up. I am giving everything I can to this week. And that's why I got a 43% conversion rate.
Incredible. I mean, so many interactive elements, so many juicy golden nuggets I want to dive into. First, though, I just want to clarify something because I'm afraid I missed it. You were walking us through the schedule, Sunday, the 6 to 60 webinar, Monday, bringing back Monday, you give them a chance to watch the replay. Tuesday, they're doing the post-its. Wednesday, what happens on Wednesday? Because then it skipped to Thursday.
Their day off. It's their day off too.
Okay.
The only thing that's happening Monday and Wednesday is they're getting an interview with one of my students, right? Because that's happening every day. So they're going to come back for an interview. And then Wednesday night, if they've joined, they get the VIP Zoom with me. So Wednesdays, like I'm giving them these 2 trainings and then they have a day after those 2 trainings to finish them or watch them or catch up. And then Thursday and Friday are just really like, you're going to come to the box openings and watch, or come to the Q&A and ask questions. But the 2 trainings, I give them a day after, just to kind of, I don't want to overwhelm them, right? Because that happens so easy with our audiences, and we feel like we just want to dump all of our knowledge on them, but it overwhelms them. So I want to give them time to think about what they did the day before if they came live. If not, give them time to consume it if they had to work or whatever, had other commitments. But that gives them time to show up then the next time. And I always tell them, like, if you can't come live, block time in to watch the replay as soon as you can. And that way that you're staying with the group all week long. And so that's really what I encourage them to do.
Love that. Giving them breathing room to, like you said, digest and actually implement. It kind of is giving me ideas about, ooh, how can we all do a better job of like building in implementation blocks or days into whatever programs or experiences we're creating for our community. So super helpful. You also mentioned that with like the evening VIP Zoom calls for those who join by Tuesday. And then of course you run them for 3 days in a row. So the other trainings then that you're doing, or the interviews with your current members, those are all only streamed Facebook Live. None of those are on Zoom. It's only the VIP calls that are on Zoom. Is that my understanding?
Yeah. And that's kind of another like higher level connection point with me. So it's like a bonus. It's not just Sarah talking, for an hour. It's Sarah interacting for an hour, because what we found, like, we can give them all the things free. Ultimately, they just want more of you. And it's hard sometimes because I'm putting so much into this week. But I know if they get on one of these connection calls, their lifetime value in my membership is so much higher because they're getting that personal interaction with me. That when you get into that group, I have thousands of members. So it's kind of that time to make a quick connection with somebody before they go into that group. And then what's great for me is, like, I remember a lot of them from Coaching Week because I've had that face to face with them, right? Even if there's 75 people in there and someone has talked to me and asked me a question, then I see them in the group. I'm like, hey, Shannon, good to see you in here.
Yeah.
Tell me if you've picked a launch date yet, or something like that. And so I also have my community manager on those Zoom calls too, because then she's bringing awareness to, okay, these are new members of our community. Let me connect. Let me make sure that they're seen and heard. Now I know a little bit more about that business. And so it just makes that interaction that much better.
Right. That completely makes sense. And I'm sure it makes them feel, like you said, more seen throughout their entire experience as a member, especially, even though your launch event is really large, like there's 2,000 people, since not every single person is showing up every single day, I'm sure they kind of get more opportunities for that like individualized attention from you. So smart for the people who take advantage of that. And the bonuses, the expiring bonuses, I think that's another incredible element that you mentioned. So you start offering people a chance to join the membership literally on day one. And then you said you have a bonus that goes away every single day as the week drags on. So like someone who joins the first day is going to get all the bonuses. Someone who joins by the last day is only going to get one of the bonuses, right? Do you mind giving us a quick just like rundown of what those bonuses are? Or if you can't remember all of them off the top of your head, maybe just pick like your top 2 favorites. I know you already mentioned the VIP Zoom calls, but like what else?
Yeah, so I know them by the back of my hand, so I got you. So there's 4 bonuses, okay? So you've got to remember this is going to run Sunday to the following Monday, okay? So there's 4 bonuses. So the first bonus is you've paid $15. This happens on Sunday night and it ends Monday night at midnight. You're going to get your $15 applied to your first month of membership for Launch Your Box. And that converts, I think I had 80 or 100 people join just from that one little bonus. Okay. So that was on that first 24 hours. Then on from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the urgency there is if you join today, you get to join a call with me tonight and I get to talk about that Tuesday while I'm delivering the training. And then I can talk about it Tuesday afternoon when I'm live with my student. Hey, don't forget, if you join now, you get to join us tonight on Zoom. And then I get to talk about it Wednesday. Also, I like to take a little screenshot of the Zoom and I put it in the group. I'm like, we had so much fun last night. And I'm like, we talked about sourcing overseas. And they're like, oh my gosh, y'all did. And so I'm creating that FOMO. Yes. So then on Wednesday, when I'm interviewing my student, I'm like, Lexi, remind them that we're going to be on Zoom tonight, and they could come join us. And so I'm plugging that bonus. Then I'm plugging it twice on Thursday during my teaching and then during my interview. So those are the bonus till Thursday. So that's bonus number 2, the VIP chats. Bonus number 3 starts on Friday. It's my public open cart It's on my sales page. And so I'm now streaming publicly and in the group, and I'm promoting, join Launch Your Box now. We're open. And that bonus is a year worth of social media graphics. And so we have them for every month. And so they get a whole Google Drive of social media graphics for their business. And so everyone that signs up Friday by midnight gets that one. So we're creating that urgency to sign up on Friday. And then Saturday, there's no bonus, which is like the dead day. It's the dead day. I'm live with a student again on Saturday. And so I'm talking about joining, blah, blah, blah. Sunday, we do bonus number 4. And that is a masterclass that I have taught before. It's called the 30 Days to Launch, walking them through how they could launch their subscription in 30 days. So it's a free masterclass. It's delivered digitally. And then Monday is our last day. There's no bonus on the last day. It's just get in before we close the cart because we have a closed membership. So there's urgency there to get in before you can't get in until we open again. And so those are the 4 bonuses, and they're just strategically placed through there. There's only one day, Saturday, we don't have a bonus, and it kind of gives me a day to rest a little bit, but before we go into closed cart, days, but I'm converting really consistently every single day because of those bonuses.
Wow. I mean, I feel like even though I have no intention to create a subscription box in the next, year or two, I feel like I have to show up to subscription box week just to like witness this excitement firsthand. I'm someone, I don't know about you, but I learn a lot through observation of other people's, containers and offers. And so I just want to see you in your zone, in action, and well-deserved rest day on Saturday, by the way. I can see why you're losing your voice by the end, because that's a lot to show up live. And I know you're pitching live every single day, like you mentioned, throughout the week with these bonuses and throughout the trainings and live interviews with your students. But do you also, like the people who are part of the subscription box week, are they also simultaneously receiving like sales emails in their inbox every single day during this challenge, so that even if they're, let's say, not tuning in live or not maybe checking the Facebook group as much, they're still getting that ask every day?
Yeah. So we do an email every day during the week and it's kind of like a wrap up email, right? Like, here's what we did today. Here's the link if you missed what we did yesterday. Here's the times to show up tomorrow. And then here's the bonus if you join today. So every day we have a reason to talk about joining because there's a bonus attached to it. And so it's kind of this wrap up email that they're getting every single day. So you got to get the links in front of them. They can't, be looking around the Facebook group with thousands of people talking their heads off. It's crazy. Your whole Facebook feed turns into this group for the week. So we try to just get everything out in front of them. Here's the link from day 1, subscription box week. Here's what we did. Here's what's happening. Here's how you can join. Here's your bonus. And then here's what's going on tomorrow. And so every day they're basically getting a sales email without knowing they're getting a sales email, if that makes sense, without really feeling it being all salesy. And then on Friday, they're automatically put into our open cart campaigns. And so they're going to get, because that's the last day of subscription box week. So now they're getting our sales emails that are really salesy, like to convert. So they're kind of getting a mixture of that throughout the week.
It sounds actually, again, very similar to what we do in our live challenge as well. And I want to emphasize that point you made about how, you mentioning the bonuses daily and kind of just seeding that into your wrap up or your daily recap email. I can see why that's such like a subtle way it's like a suggestion, right? It's like, hey, by the way, we're doing you a favor and rounding up all of the value so that you have it in one easy to reference place. But also, I just want to make sure I remind you or that you don't forget about this amazing bonus. So I love the way that you kind of tackle that from 2 different approaches, the more subtle suggestion throughout the week and then really hitting it hard once open cart happens. How long is your entire open cart? Is it just the 4 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, close on Monday, or?
Yes.
Okay, for everybody. Mm-hmm. All right. Why 4-day open cart? Is that something that you've tested different lengths and you just found that works the best? Or what's behind that decision?
I think if I was just doing an open cart launch, I would probably do 5 or 6 days. But because this is tied into subscription box week, I feel like I have the attention of my warmest lead anyway. So when I do open cart, one, I'm exhausted by Friday anyway. So I feel like if you're just in my email list or you're following me on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, you're ready to join. You already know you want to join because you already know who I am. Maybe you've been listening to my voice on the podcast. Maybe you've been watching my YouTube videos, or you show up every Monday for Monday Momentum, whatever the case may be. So I feel like I'm really just launching to subscription box week, honestly, because I feel like the other part of my list knows whether they're going to buy or not. They know it's coming. We've sent out, email campaigns saying, launch your box is open. They got all the emails about subscription box week going on. So they know that that was coming too. So I like to do a short launch window because I can go hard in 4 days. I think when you have a long launch, it just putters out. Like you can't go hard that long. And I know when I go all in, I see results. But trying to go all in for 7, 10, 14 days, that's too hard. It's kind of like you're sick of looking at it. So that's why I just like to do a short window. I do this the same with my retail e-commerce business. When I'm launching that box, I do it for 4 or 5 days. We go all in, we talk about it nonstop, and then we're done. And so that's just really what works for me.
Yeah. I think it comes down to knowing your own energetic capacity and how you like to show up. Like you said, it sounds like you have a really good grasp on that for yourself. And it is tough to carry that momentum for, weeks on end, that stretch. So I love that you found the right cadence that works for you. To wrap up our case study today, I wanted to kind of pull out a few other factors that you feel really made a difference in creating your highest conversion rate ever at that 43%. We've already walked through some of these contributing factors. You talked about why you increased the ticket price for subscription box weeks from $10 to $15. You talked about all of the bonuses, the 4 bonuses that really drive that urgency and FOMO daily. But the 2 I feel like we haven't talked as much about that I just want to kind of get your last bit of, insight on is first, the increased ad spend. I feel like part of this is maybe obvious, like you said, just because of rising ad costs. But if there was anything else that you feel contributed to you increasing the budget or anything around ad spend that you want to add, this would be a great chance to pipe in. And then I'll ask you about the last factor after that.
My strategy for increasing the ad spend was I had a goal of getting 1,000 new members. So when I looked at historically these past 4 subscription box weeks, my conversion rate was going down each one. And I don't know if it was because, we'd gone through this period of different timing with, the world and things like that, or they've just seen it over and over again and I wasn't converting. So actually my last subscription box coaching week, I converted at 26%. Okay. And so in my mind, I thought, okay, if I want 1,000 members, I need to get 4,000 people into coaching week. Okay. And so I thought, in order to do that, I needed to spend quite a bit more money. So I increased my budget by $20,000. And so I thought if I can increase my ad spend, I can get more people into coaching week. If I convert at 25%, I'll get 1,000 members. So I just did the backwards math. What was happening was I wasn't getting as many members and it started to make me scared a little bit because I thought, okay, if I convert at 25%, I'm going to have a few hundred new members. Now I've spent this extra 20 grand, right? And I wasn't getting the signups. And I kind of just was like, it was too late to stop the ad spend because now we're like 2 or 3 days before coaching week. I've spent a lot of my budget and I thought I can't stop the ads now. We're so close to this. Most people sign up at the last minute. Let's just let it ride. And I'm going to do my best to show up and convert the heck out of people. And that's what I told myself. I said, now it's in my hands. It's in my control. I have to show up as the most confident, best version of me in this group and help them see what this could do for them in a form of reoccurring revenue, in a quartering of like lifestyle changes. Like I have to show them that and I have to make them believe that they can really do this because my students that are doing this, their lives have changed. And so I just knew that I had to do that. And that's where my confidence really shifted and I went all in. And that's where some of the extra bonuses came in because I thought, okay, if I don't have 4,000 people in here, I got to convert better. So I added in the $15 off the first day. So that was new. And I added in bonus number 4, which was that free masterclass kind of mid-cart, late cart bump there. I had the other 2 bonuses already planned because we do those every time. But I'm like, I think I need some more conversion points here, more urgency here. And so that was really my thought process behind the ad spend was I was hoping it was going to bring me more signups and it did not. But fortunately, I had a much better conversion rate than I expected.
There you go. And I think that speaks volumes about, keeping your, I don't even know if it's the word like optimism is the right word, but like just not letting yourself get totally derailed if the front end metrics don't line up with, what you were hoping for. Cause you always have ability to control the back end, right? Or the bottom of the funnel too. And I love that you were able to pivot in real time and figure out, okay, we didn't quite hit the registration numbers we wanted, but what else can we do to really increase that? And that's huge, by the way, Sarah. I just want to congratulate you again, like 26% conversion rate to 43% in just one round difference is absolutely amazing. So huge kudos to you there. The last thing that you did that really influenced the success of this round was your vulnerability and your ability to share openly, get personal. What do you mean by that? What was different about what you shared with this group that you feel like maybe you didn't open up as much about in previous cohorts?
I think that I'm very open and transparent in my membership day to day, whether you're in Launch Your Box, Scale Your Box, or my mastermind. Like there's no question that I won't answer. Like we were doing a live Q&A last week and they asked me questions about my boyfriend. When you're 45 and dating, like that's what they're curious about. I'm like, all right, let's talk about my boyfriend. So there's not anything that I won't answer about my own business. Like I was in Scale Your Box last week and they're like, tell me about how your Better Than Black Friday sale is going. I've been seeing your ads. And I'm like, here's what my acquisition cost is. Here's where my sales are at. Here's where I'm at compared to next year. So I'm very transparent in that group. But then you put me in front of new people, strangers maybe, and I don't feel as comfortable, right? Like I hold back a little bit because I don't know these people. Not that I know all my members anyway, but it feels like a safer space for me because it's a closed private group, right? So I had to just be like, okay, and this is what I told myself when I shifted from my retail brick and mortar to the e-commerce. I had to show up online the same way I would show up if somebody walked through my front door, right? I'm greeting them, I'm asking them how their day is, can I help them find anything? I had to show my personality and I had to show my transparency in this group. And I think I'm more confident than I've ever been before. And it's just, I think it comes with experience and it comes with age and it comes with failures. And I think that confidence showed up in this group that maybe hasn't been there before.
I love that. And an encouragement for anyone listening, like Sarah said, this only comes through experience, right? So like you can't will your way into more confidence just by thinking it through. Like, yes, of course you have to work on your mindset and whatnot, but a lot of it does have to do with just like rolling up your sleeves, getting your elbows dirty and kind of, flopping and figuring things out as you go. And that builds resilience and that builds confidence. So thank you so much, Sarah, for just sharing so transparently. I can definitely sense that in you. I feel like that's what makes you such an amazing guest for our show is like we so value that commitment to transparency and showing people like what it really takes to run a business. And again, like huge congrats on the 43% conversion. I think that gets you close to that 1,000 member mark that you were looking for, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So that's amazing. And one final point just for our listeners, I realized I was supposed to say this at the beginning to kind of give you guys a little bit more context, but Launch Your Box is a $67 a month membership. So this is a very low ticket membership. And that's why I think that day one bonus, that $15 credit that they can apply towards their first month in your membership probably converts so well. Cause basically if you take $15 away from 67, they're practically paying for like a third of their membership costs, right? So just thinking through that for yourselves as you're listening into this case study, if you do something similar where it's like a paid launch into a paid product, thinking how can I reward those who have already invested by giving them that fast action bonus. So Sarah, thank you so much. Where else can our listeners connect with you? Join your next subscription box week if there's someone who falls into that category. Tell us all the links.
Yeah, if you love listening to podcasts, you can come over and listen to mine. It's called the Launch Your Box podcast. Also, you can find me. My website is launchyourbox.com. So you can come find all the free resources that you might want. You can check me out there. And of course, I'm live every Monday morning, just giving a little bit of motivation and inspiration to kind of get your week going every single week.
I love that. Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, all of those links will be below in the video description. If you're listening on your favorite podcast player, make sure to check out the show notes. Sarah, thank you again for joining us. And thank you all for tuning in. We will catch you in next week's episode.